First, I want to know how many of you in this room are solo entrepreneur? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, okay. How many are established CEO? Okay, great. And we have our panelist. So I will give you the mic, and so you can introduce first yourself. So let's start with it.
Thank you. So I'm Nuch from Switch.you. So we start our Switch.you 2014, and for the homemade until right now we have our team like 30 people, and we become bakery factories and distribute all the sweet snacks to the coffee chain in Thailand.
So good evening, my name is Charles Reed. I'm the owner and the chairman of Royal Greyhound, and what we do is we move shipping boxes in Singapore. So we move about 10% of the containers that come in and out of Singapore.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gagan Singh. I'm originally from India, but living and working in this part of the world for roughly 15 years. Been corporate finance guy, then a venture capitalist, founded my first company in 2015, took it to Series C, and now working on my second venture since 2022. For those who want to learn, catch me after the panel. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Sid Kirisako. I've also been in Thailand for about 15 years, but we just met tonight. So I'm currently a co-founder of a company called Nature to Need, and we make a low-carbon plastic replacement out of agricultural residues. This is a new venture. I've only been involved with it 6 months, so I'm actually here to talk to you about my previous venture that I was with for 10 years, and it was a digital agency called Absinthe, and we made a lot of the apps that you see here in Thailand for the large corporates, so can talk more about it in a bit.
Thank you. So as you can see, we have a really diverse panel, so different kind of industry, different kind of success, obviously different kind of leadership skills and mindset. So we will dive into this. So I'm Julie on my side. So I was working on a corporate for 17 years, and 2 years ago, I embarked on this entrepreneurship journey, and I'm having a leadership coaching for women company. So we know that to begin this journey, we need something. So we need a spark of passion, maybe some craziness at some point. So what were your drivers? Like how you decided one day that that's what you wanted to do? You wanted to be your own leader, your own boss, and you jump into this journey. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
So sorry, I forgot one rule. So you have 3 minutes, and after 3 minutes, where is Alex? Alex, you have the chicken? Okay, so you will hear a little sound whenever you're gonna spend more than 3 minutes. No, per person. Be kind with them.
Okay, so I think for me, I mean, everyone's answer is probably going to be different, but for me, at a young age, I saw a lot of my family members were business owners, not necessarily like entrepreneurs or doing startups, but they had, they had small businesses like restaurants, jewelry shops, and stuff like that. So I was always surrounded by that, and I think my father instilled in me at an early age. Whether it's a blessing or a curse, I don't know. He says, there's nothing better than being your own boss, being your business owner. So I think that was always in the back of my mind. But at the same time, I had other family members giving me the opposite message, which is, oh, you're not good with money. So it took me a while to get to the point where I said, okay, I want to do my own business. And I think for me, it's like when I was young, I was not a good artist. I had a lot of good friends that were artists, and people would always say, oh, you're so creative to these artist friends. You know, I never felt like a creative person because I was not a good artist. But as I got older and you learn more about yourself, what you're good at, I felt like my creative outlet was trying to build organizations, trying to create something new, trying to upskill people. And for me, I think building a business it's a form of creativity and self-expression and trying to create something out of nothing. Yeah.
Yep, thanks, Ed. So as Sid rightly mentioned, like everyone's journey is different and everyone's route they take is different. So for me, but it was similar, aspirational. I always like the glamour behind being a CEO. But there was one moment in my life which actually put a stab, like where I was absolutely confident that I will build something on my own, of my own. It was when I met one of my mentors who was quite financially successful. He was in his mid-40s back then. This is an over a decade story. So, and I asked him one question, like, how did you make so much money? And what is one thing you want to tell me? And he said something that day, it still is engraved very deeply within me, is that, Gagan, listen, there's one massive advantage in becoming an entrepreneur which none of the other jobs have. And I asked what? And he said, you just need to be right once. You can be wrong 5 times, 10 times, 15 times, but once you get it right, the sky's the limit for you. But that's it. And since then, I always aspired to become an entrepreneur, and the route which I took was very strategically placed. So no really romantic story around that. But yeah, that's one statement is something which is deeply ingrained, and I wanted everyone in the room to listen to it because it's true.
Yeah, that's quite inspiring. Yes, thank you, Kagan. So I don't really think of being an entrepreneur as a sort of like a passionate driving thing. You know, I've done a lot of different types of businesses, from software businesses to logistics businesses, security businesses. Something that I like is what I call the flywheel, which is having a business or having an activity that once you get the momentum going, it has its own momentum and it keeps going. And you can find that as a CEO of a company, you can find that as an entrepreneur of a company, but that's something that I like. And it's sort of, it has its own momentum. And I'm always looking for that in different businesses. And that's what sort of drives me, looking for that flywheel.
Okay, so I'm kind of like the same as the others, but I'm totally different in that we do not even think about have my own business. My dream is a housewife, you know. So, but the switch is come from the fortunate that I met the story you love and then create it and come to, like Gagan said, we just have to be right on the one things. And my stroke waffle is the one that make things happen. And as Charles said, the momentum will go. When you already created, the business was going and you want to grow it up more. That's how the switch you coming today.
Okay, thank you. Charles, you want to add something?
Good.
Okay, thank you. So as we can see, a different kind of motivation for you, Nush. It was building something, never think about it before. I know, Charles, you are seeking opportunity. That's what you say when we discuss the creation, and for you, the mentor that inspire you. Let's dive and deep dive a little bit into the growth and so the business itself. So we know that from solo entrepreneur, it's obviously developing by yourself, but then you have to grow the business and you have to adapt your strategic planning. So can you share some specific example about which kind of strategy shifts are necessary to move from like a small structure with only few employees you can discuss and interact with, and building a team and scaling a business?
Okay, I'll have a go at that to start with then. So I used to run an internet company. We used to do Wi-Fi networks and movie systems and things like that. And when I took the business over, it was about 300 employees, something like that. Not doing that much, about 10 million US a year. And then within 5 years, we got up to 150 million and about 2,000 employees. And the way I did that, and I say I, that's probably not the right way to say it, the way that we did that was we actually dumbed it down. We actually made everything simpler. So it was like a cookie cutter. And because a lot of the business was based on software, it was actually really defining what a product is and what a service is, and knowing the difference. And we grew that business from about 10 countries to 70 countries as well in 5 years. And it was actually by dumbing it down. So being super efficient and being able to just say, if I have one solution, how can I just cut and paste it many times? And that's how we did that particular growth story.
Yeah, so again, completely resonate with what Charles said. So what I have learned is that in order for you to build any scalable business, you have to start doing it in the most non-scalable way possible. That's how you start it. So for example, our business is to help companies fundraise. Now, we could have gone and built tech around it on day one, but we tried to do it manually for the first 6 months to 1 year, understanding the nuances of each of the process, and then we tried building the technology around it. But then guess what? The rule of 3 and 10 came as a hurdle. Anyone knows the rule of 3 and 10? So it's a very interesting concept, and I highly recommend all of you to go through it. It's given by Miki Tani, I think that's his name. He's the CEO of Rakuten, a quite sizable company. And he said that in an organization, everything breaks at the interval of 3 or 10. What I mean by that is, if you're a one-person team, when you reach 3 people team, you have all the processes will break and you have to reinvent it. Then from 3 to 10, again, all processes will break, you have to reinvent it. Then 30, then 100, and so on. And that's what most of the businesses have to go through. So first understand the nuances and then build technology around it, but then revamp it as you are scaling. The solutions which might work for the company which is of 15 people will definitely not work when you have 200 people. So the constant evolvement is required. That's what I would like to add. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I agree with both of these gentlemen with what they said. I mean, at Absinthe, I was part of the founding team, and in my tenure there, helped grow the company to about 130 people. And I think the answers depend on what type of business as well. So what worked for an agency type business where we were not manufacturing, but we were developing complicated custom software for corporate clients is going to be different than some of these other type of companies. So have that in mind, right? But I think when you're starting out just 1 or 2 people and you gradually scale, definitely different stages, you're going to have to kind of rebuild different processes. You're going to have to hire different types of people with different skill sets. But I think in the early days, you might be doing everything, or the 2 or 3 people on your team might be doing everything. But as you scale, you can't do everything. So you have to kind of dissect your work down into pieces. For my business, Absinthe, I wouldn't say necessarily dumb it down, but understand each step into like micro steps, so that when you hire people, you can carve out pieces to them and you can train them. It even goes back to like hiring. Then you can hire the right person to do this particular role, this particular task. So that works, I think, until about maybe 15, 20 people, and then you have to kind of take a different tact to get to the next stage. Yeah.
Okay, so different strategy. What about Noosh? So Noosh, you're having a different kind of business. So you are selling bakery. So what is it about you? How do you grow that kind of?
Okay, so I just knew right now they have a theory of the 3 to 10 to things that they have to renovate. So things like that. I'm start from 2 and things go on, and then if we doesn't have much on the knowledge and things, so we accept more people to helping. So one of the team that I think really like important is accountant, because we both not really strictly on the accountant things. Then when the accountants come, then you see income, you see profit, you really see cost, you really see things. And after that, when you want to go more, do we have budget more to hiring more people to helping? So because it's small business and low budget, we really have to calculate everything, make sure that the income that next month we have more to pay off. But as you said, like 3 and then up to 10, and now we come to 30 already. So it's how it goes.
Okay, so all of you were growing organically, right? Any of you were growing with acquisition, or considering to accelerate with acquisition, or bringing a partner?
Yeah, don't do it. Yeah. Acquisitions are
Share your learning lesson.
some of the hardest things to do, and I've done a number of acquisitions and merged companies together, and it's actually quite difficult, and people lose jobs, and you have to make really hard decisions. You can't have 2 head of R&D, right? You're going to have 1. You can't have 2 managing directors of China. You have to have 1, and you got to make these hard decisions, so it's tough. But there are things in terms of acquisitions which I think works particularly well for technology, which is if you can buy a company that has a product which is adjacent to yours. So there's some complementary type things like that. I did buy one company purely for its intellectual property, right? And that turned out to be a very good deal, but that was because we had to go off and sue a whole bunch of companies, right? Which is also quite hard. But I think as sort of entrepreneurs, if you're looking at businesses from the 1 to 30 size, I think, I like to look at things like the rhythm, the rhythm of businesses as well. And if you're going to do acquisitions, you have to be really sure that it's the same types of people. The culture has to be the same. And if it's not the same, then you're going to end up firing half of them.
And what about partnerships? So that's a different way about partnerships. So growing with onboarding a new partner, or for example. Because we're talking about solo entrepreneur, and at some point, the journey can be a bit draining, and so you want, to partner with someone else. Like solo entrepreneur might not be the first choice, but just the way you start. So what about partnering?
Yeah, I can talk to that, because in our growth story, we partnered quite a bit. Different kind of partners from the very early days. My friend who was, disclaimer, I was not number 1 in the company. I kind of came in on the founding team, but my partner, Bob Gallagher, maybe some of you know him, when he started, he's a non-technical guy. He's a marketing guy starting an app company. So he got the customer, then he outsourced the development work. So you could call the person he outsourced to a partner since day 1. Once we kind of validated demand, we started hiring our own technical team and developing our own technical team. once we got our first big client and they were happy with our work, they wanted to feed us a lot more work, and we couldn't handle it. So again, we had to partner with other development companies. And of course, it's kind of like your reputation on the line, right? We were very transparent with our client that, hey, we would love to work with you. We're going to make sure that the work quality is good, but in the short term, we're going to work with a partner until we can kind of fill in with our own staff. A few years later, we partnered on the front end. By that, what I mean is partnered in terms of like lead acquisition, right? So companies that are serving the same clients, but slightly different services, right? So we started off as an app development company. We didn't do, a mobile app development company. We didn't get into web apps, right? But there are other companies that did web apps that didn't really have a strong mobile team. So we referred these to each other. So we didn't get into any JVs because we didn't really see the need to, but it was more just complementing us and referring leads to us and vice versa. And it worked quite well.
Not much to add here, but just like Charles, like our experience with JV has not gone as intended because the cultures are it's very different culture, the way your organization works. Like every country has its own, say, soft policy or code of conduct or ethics policy, which might not align with if your other JV partner because they might be in a different geography or any other reason. So it's typically quite tough to pull off. But if, like on theory, it looks very, on theory, it's quite lucrative, you know, because say, for example, if we are doing business here in Southeast Asia with limited bandwidth, and if you get an opportunity to expand to the MENA region, Middle East, North Africa, so JV sounds like a good idea because you're partnering with people who are locally based there and who understand the market better. But then comes a lot of soft nuances around it, you know, with regards to the other elements which are typically not discussed. So yeah, that's a long way of me saying it's tough, but if you can pull it off, then great.
No, she want to share because I know for you it was a turning point to get a partner.
A lot of turning and turning. So as I was saying at the first, it's come from the love story of my ex, something like that. But then it's time to change. We separated. I need some help because, as I told you as well, that I want to be a housewife. So do I know the business? Hell no, I don't know anything. So I need somebody to helping me. So I'm get lucky on the new partner that right now he's a business partner that he started from being just a factory that helping us to repackaging the stroopwafel. And well, his own company in the previous is failed. I mean, like, he stopped doing that business, but he been learned a lot in the snacks business. He knows, and he asked for the opportunity to become back a business owner. And at the moment, I really need help. So let's try and let him do it. If like he brings something good or he's something bad. So since he came in, the Switch will become more company, more system operation costs and things like that. And when I see that things come out better. So you come with faith to him and also monitoring on what he work on things. And if he can do it, so now he's a really a big part in the Switch U. And later on, after the stroopwafel become only like imported snacks and repackaging, we have another chance that to buy other factory. So that's how we diversity our products out from the stroopwafel to brownie crisps. And the brownie crisps is one of the part that become our important products that helping us grow double more from the stroopwafel. So at the moment, I bought them, have a problem, things like that, as you said. Well, luckily that okay, we have an easy talk, like kind of like a win-win situation. You investing, I buy you out plus some interest in the money that you can have, you know, something like that. So it's a small scale. So we don't talk about the lawyer and paper, things like that. Okay, but then after the right now is about I have stroopwafel, I have brownie crisps, so things was go on. And now I may need Charles' your opinions for the next step because right now we were thinking about to have more team to helping us on the marketing because we know that I would say that Switch U get lucky in a lot of things, but because it's the right product and right partner, I mean the right client, which is a Cafe Maison, I grow with them since like they have 1,200, so now they become 4,000. So I've been grow with them, and because of stroopwafel, they go with the coffee shop. Okay, now we grow. We've been.
We will need to.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
2 minutes.
So wrap up. Okay, are they crying already? Okay, so I mean we've been a passive marketing, so now we're crying out again, screaming out again that we need a marketing team to helping us to scale more up because we want to touch 100 million soon, you know.
Love the ambition. Let's move a little bit more about the leadership skills and quality. So we are talking about the organization, the setup, but what about the skills and the mindset you need as a leader? So to move from a solo entrepreneur or small team, so which kind of qualities do you have or did you have to develop for yourself and for your team?
Okay, I'll start then, shall I? So somebody could probably stand up and talk about leadership for hours and hours and hours and go on about it all. So I'm just going to pick on two things. The first one, and I think this is probably the most important, is to know your place and to be humble. So know what you're good at, know what you're not good at, and be humble about it. And as a leader, and particularly in an early startup, if you have to go clean the toilet because the cleaning lady didn't turn up for the day, you go clean the toilet, right? So be humble. Like nothing is beneath you. You should be able to do everything, okay? Now that also spans not just in the office in the sense that, you should take time off. You should spend time with your family. You should do humble things. It's not about the reason I want to become an entrepreneur is so that I can have my own company jet, and drink brandy and champagne all day long. That's not the reason why people do these things. So humbleness is one. The second one I just want to talk about, which is very practical, and it's something that I've done probably from about when I was about 16 or 17, I've been done this all my life, is to allow yourself a window in the daytime, either 20 minutes or 30 minutes, but whatever it is. And that 30 minutes is your time. You can have a cup of tea, cup of coffee, clean your shoes, think about bunny rabbits, or think about business or whatever it is. For 30 minutes, that's your window. Now, Winston Churchill used to do this, right? And he was running a country, fighting a world war. And he would give himself 30 minutes where nobody could disturb him, and it was just for him. And the instructions was, even if the king called, King George, to speak to him, say, I'm not available. The only time you can open my door is if Adolf Hitler actually turned up. That's the only person. So, a bit of a funny story, but I still try to do that. Just give yourself 20 minutes of you time. Okay? Anybody want to go?
Let's do with me because I'm the easy way. Okay. So as myself, the open-minded, like as Charles said, be knows what you're good at and be accepted that, something you can't do yourself. You really have to ask somebody to do it, Those are number one. And to be a good listener to now become when you grow up already. So you have teams. And when the teams want something, just listen to them and trust them and give them an opportunity to do those. So that's what I.
So again, for leadership, there are different schools of thoughts, right? Some people might be Elon Musk fan here, one of the greatest entrepreneur of our time, cutthroat, doesn't think twice before firing people, works the hardest, leads from the front, does crazy things and makes them happen. That's one leadership style, which is aspirational for quite a few people. And then there is another leadership style, which is of Ratan Tata, one of the biggest entrepreneur in India, who has built a giant conglomerate, which he leads by, empathy, and he values loyalty over anything else. So even if you are 70% efficient than the other guy, but if you're loyal to him, you will stay there forever and grow in the organization, because he feels that it takes years for people to understand the organization culture, and that he values more than anything else. So these are two extremes. So everybody tries to find a balance and between the two, and at least I try to do. So for me, there are two most important elements for any leader. One is resilience. You have to be extremely resilient. Building a company is like Murphy's Law, right? Whatever you expect to go wrong does go wrong. So you have to be really you have to be really resilient to counter that. That's one. And second is empathy. And two folds of empathy. One is emotional empathy, of course, which everybody knows what it means. And second is cultural empathy. Like your leadership style might work very good in the US market, might work very good in the China market, but try running the business same style in Thailand. Good luck. You'll never be able to do that, So cultural empathy is equally important, right? So if you'll be like hard and fast, my way or highway, that's not going to work. So might have worked for a few people, but for most of us, I'll say mortals, it doesn't work. So understanding different cultures really helps you to take yourself and the company a long way.
Yeah, I agree with everything that was said. Again, there's a lot of great leaders out there you can learn from, their books, their videos. much greater than me, at least. The thing that I would share, I guess, in the context of building and scaling a company and leadership, I mean, number one, you don't need to be an owner, a founder, or the CEO of a company to be a leader, right? You can be a leader at any level. What's different, I guess, when you are the founder, or if you're the head of the company, is that it's kind of like you have ultimate accountability, right? And you have to own up to it. So that's one thing. Someone on your team might make a mistake to the customer, but the one that has to apologize is probably going to be you, right? And the one that has to take responsibility for it is you. So I think that's one thing. The other thing I enjoy about leadership is that, like Argan was saying, it's not one answer for all situations, right? And you have to know what skill or what the situation, what the context is to apply that skill. And so it's constant learning, right? If you want to be a leader, I think you always have to be learning about yourself, self-awareness, and leadership is about people, right? So you always have to learn like how to best work with people, communicate with people, interact with people, get people to do things that might not obviously be in their best interest, but be in the best interest of the customer or the company. So it's really fun if you enjoy learning all the time, if you enjoy working with people and really challenging yourself.
Thank you. I like how we move from the startup to people, and because growing a company is all about people, and that's why you share. I'm a bit mindful of the time, so to have time for the Q&A, just if you have like one advice in one short sentence for the audience, what would it be to scale a company from 0 to 100? Just, yeah, I know, but we could talk for 6 hours, but the time is up. Too soon.
Get up 8 times, and when you fall down 7 times.
Okay.
So resilience.
For me, just 2 words: start early. That's it.
Amazing.
So again, I can't take credit for this. I read a lot, and I don't even know who said this. Maybe Brian Tracy or something. The job of a leader is to develop more leaders. That's how you grow the company, right? It's good to feel needed. It's good to feel like you're the unique, core piece of the company. But that means that if your company becomes valuable, you'll never be able to step back or sell it. Like I did, I moved to another venture, right? Because the company's doing well without me. So develop other people who can continue to help grow the company.
Thank you. Snoosh?
They are really good. Listen to them. For me, don't forget to take my stroopwafel and snacks after we finish here.
Thank you. Thank you. So how long do you have for the Q&A, Mike, the timekeeper? 10 minutes. Awesome. So who wants to start? Don't be shy. Yes.
Beautiful. I really enjoy. But I have a question, and please think about it very well. If you hit the wall, you don't know what to do, you're stuck, you are in the same place all the time, and you need to get out of that because it's happened, it's happened. What is the place that you go to seek advice? One place. I'm sure you have many, but what is the best place that you will choose to go to from your experience?
So I think it depends on what stage of life you're at, right? So if you were a young entrepreneur in this group, right, and what you need to do as a young entrepreneur is to identify certain mentors or role models. About you. Okay. So what I did, this is about, I think it was about 10 years ago, I actually hired a professional mentor, somebody outside my industry, older, more wisely than me, but somebody who actually wasn't from my industry. So when I had a big problem or something that I couldn't get out of the rut from a business perspective, then I could then talk that through with that person. So I made a conscious decision to actually hire a mentor. Yes, I would. Yes. Yeah. Anybody want to try?
As a Buddhism, so I have learned the Vipassana in the temple, like the meditation course. And I don't say that I use that every day. It's like once a year, I will give my birthday gift to go there for 7 days, cut off of everything. And because of doing that, 5 years in a row and things like that, then when it comes to the problem, it's just like, well, it will have the answer somewhere, somehow, or rethinking again, and don't be upset about it at the moment. It's just things that come and pass. I really have to get rid of your mind as quick as I can. I've been struggle on something for a while, but when I use that meditation again, it helping me to like, well, it would go and it would gone. Something new would come. Another problem will come. Something like that. And right now, and if I can't find anything, fortune teller can tell you.
So you are specifically asking about our approaches, right? Yeah, my approach has two processes. I talk to people from different industries because because no matter how hard we try, we always get into silos. You know, even within your team or people from sometimes from the same industry work within silos and they have one way of thinking about it, and everyone is constantly checking competition. So you eventually ultimately land up being same ideas, and that might not be the good solution. So try talking to people of different industries. But more important one that had personally worked for me, might not work for most of the people here, is I write. You know, as an individual, it's very easy to overestimate ourselves and say, hey, I've already thought about this thing, it's not going to work, let me try this, and then let me try this. But you're essentially revolving around the same problem. But if you write one solution, try it for 1 week. I know most of the people here won't do it, but try it. You'll be amazed how much closer to the solution that might work you are there. So writing really helps, but again, it has been my personal experience, so not sure.
Yeah, for me, I wrote sometimes. To answer your question, Roy, I probably could have benefited by going to more people, but whenever I encountered something that just stuck, didn't see a way out, I would try to seek out someone else, not a competitor, right, but someone in a similar type of business that maybe had already solved it, wanted to know at least how they solved it. Maybe it didn't apply to me, but at least give me a different perspective on looking at the problem. A lot of times I think a lot of times we have the solution in our brain already, but we just haven't put the pieces together. Maybe writing helped you do that. Talking to other people, just, you know, you get stuck. It doesn't mean you know how to solve it, but you just need to look at it a different way, or maybe you're missing one key little piece of information or a little nudge from someone that can just open the door. And I think the main thing is to act, right? The same way Gagan was saying that his mentor told him, you can be wrong 100 times, you need to be right one. When you're stuck in business, at least for me, as long as you act, then you see how the situation changes, and then you can move, right? At least you're not stuck anymore. Maybe you're moving in the wrong direction for a little while, but at least you're moving, and then you can get back on track.
Thank you. One more burning question. Okay, sorry.
As an entrepreneur, what is your biggest fear?
I'm thinking. I don't think in terms of fear. You know, I don't think in terms of fear. You know, I mean, like, yeah, you lose your business, You're still alive, right? My biggest fear is losing my health or not being able to do the things that I can do. And I say this because I've made money and I've lost money. You know, it's all about just getting back up again. So I don't think in terms of fear. You know, be a good entrepreneur is to actually enjoy it, enjoy the ride. You know, get up in the morning and say, fuck it, I'm going to do it, you know? Like, don't be scared.
I mean, I'll be brutally honest. Saving the company is something which is extremely important, and we go through cycles. So, and there's a personal reason why I think is because I come from a lower middle class family in tier 4 city in India. And sitting here is a dream for me already, you know? And losing it all, I don't want to. It's my biggest fear. Like, even this is good enough for me. Yes, I want to become billionaire, and I'm working 16 hours a day. I try to work 16 hours a day to reach that level. But even losing what I have is something which I'm sometimes worried about, because business don't go as expected. You know, every morning there's a new fight. So yeah, it does keep me awake at times. Sometimes we're still not a profitable company, so we burn capital. So getting access to capital is something which keeps me awake, which ultimately means I want to run my business.
Yeah, I like I said, we're all on our journeys, different stages of our journeys, and I think maybe had I started the entrepreneurial journey younger and had more victories under my belt, maybe I would have less fear, like our colleague here. I would love to have that mindset, but I still fear, similar to Kunut and Gagan, about there's always uncertainty. You're running a business, right? Unless you've got a portfolio of investments and you're working on a new business, that's different. But my fear is quite personal, which is I have a 14-year-old son. And I'm kind of like, I wouldn't call it gambling, but if I just played it safe, had a corporate job, then his college and his future is kind of like more guaranteed in a way. But because of what I want to do, you know, I'm taking a little bit of a risk on that. And, you know, maybe you have to get some scholarships or go to a less expensive school, but maybe he'll be able to go to a really nice school too if I win on this venture. So, yeah.
Thank you. I think the time is. Okay.
I think with a lot of potential entrepreneurs in the room, I think it would be interesting for us to understand a little bit from the moment you had your idea to the first earnings. And you said you're still losing business or losing money, but it would be an idea to put it in perspectives. How long did it take your journey to start really earning something?
Yeah. So I think maybe it's obvious, but I'll say it. I think the lifeblood of any business, I believe, is customers, right? I just talked about my son, but when we used to drive, I used to drive him to school, and then, a restaurant I used to be there is no longer there anymore. He like, where did that restaurant go? I was like, well, didn't have enough customers, or the customers didn't pay enough to cover their costs. So I think any business, any type of business, obviously like pharmaceutical business versus a consulting business is going to be different dynamics when you get your first customer, but it's really important to get that first customer and the second customer. I think for the type of business that the people in the room are interested in. I don't think any of you are raising like millions and millions of dollars in order to have an FDA approved drug in 15 years. And that's your first revenue, right? It's probably much sooner than that. So I think just focus on that one customer and how quickly you can get there with being as resourceful and frugal as possible, right? That would be my view on things.
Yeah. So from my side, like there are two elements, right? One is the profitability and one is the revenue. So profitability, yes, we did hit profitability in my previous company, but as we heard here that like every business is different. So like the example like Amazon, they did not make money for first almost 10 years, but then AWS is when they turned it around, and now they're extremely profitable. So for me, my experience particularly related to scalable businesses, which are technology driven. So our focus is not on the profitability during early days because we want to reach a certain scale, and then there are multiple revenue streams that we can explore. But yes, getting a first paying customer is extremely important, and that most of the companies should jump as soon as you could. I made this mistake. We actually made this mistake in our first startup, which was a logistics company, where we did not charge any commissions for the first 1 year because we thought we lose our supply and there will be non-fulfillment, which turned out to be a fallacy. Like even after 1 year, once we pulled the button, we lost like 40–50% of the drivers overnight, and now we had disgruntled customers. And that mistake we did not repeat in my second startup, and I'm happy for that. Like we started charging on day one. Yes, we were questioned by our clients, like, oh, you're too small, oh, your product is not there. And we did lose a lot of clients who wanted us to work for free for them. But what it led to is, it led us to getting paid only the selected quality clients that we wanted. And it also made us answerable, because once somebody pays you, they naturally expect higher quality, and you are also indebted, and you try your best. So charge early. That's what I'm going to say. Your product will never be perfect. As a founder, you'll always be insecure to ask customers for money. You'll say, oh, let us wait for the right time. Right time never comes. Start charging day one. It will be tough for you to get the first customer, but that's the fact of the matter is whenever you ask for money from anyone, it'll be tough anyways. So yeah.
So I'm going to try to answer the question slightly differently, in a sense that a company is very different if you own 100% of the company and you run it as your enterprise, compared to a company that has raised capital from investors. Two very, very different beasts. The former, which is if you own 100%, or you and your wife owns it, or or your family owns it, then you actually make that decision yourself, and you know that you know what you're actually getting into, so to speak, in the sense that if you don't charge for it, this is money coming out of your pocket. Right. Now, if you're doing a business which is raised capital from angel investors or VCs or whoever it is, that's a very different beast. Now, one of the common mistakes I see with entrepreneurs is they try to get angel investors in, and they think that this business is going to be another unicorn, right? So they'll say things like, yes, I want, $50,000, I'm going to, give you 5% of the business. And the business is just the concept. What? I wouldn't put $50,000 in it if it was even the best idea in the world, right? So you've got to be very careful about how you bring investors on and what the purpose of the investors are. And frankly, angel investors are just friends who are going to just almost be nice to you and give you some money, right? Once you start getting to venture capitalists, they're tough. And you're going to have to hit certain targets. So I used to run a private equity fund in Hong Kong. And the way we made the best money was not by investing in a business and then than exiting through a trade sale or an IPO. The best way we made money, and this is a little bit of a trade secret here, is by having financial instruments that if the founder couldn't hit his targets, I got more shares. So if I put, let's say $10 million into a business, you have 10% of the company because they think it's going to make 100 million in profit, blah, 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 blah. Then you don't argue with the founder and say, yeah, sure, okay. But I tell you what, I'll agree to your valuation. But if you fail, instead of 10%, I get 20%. And then I get all my money back first before I actually get my 20%. And that's how we used to make all our money. So be real careful with venture capitalists. And that would also kind of define how you have to get to revenue, how you have to get to EBITDA margin, positive EBITDA margin, and then net profit margin. So that's kind of defines all that. It's called double dip and triple dip. Triple dip is the one that you really do it.
Thank you, Charles. I will rethink about it because I'm thinking to start it. Right. Okay, so like small business, as the first case that Charles was talking about. So myself, been lost for 2 years before getting back on track because the demand of stroopwafel more, the coffee shop open more. That take me to 2 years.
Thank you. I think it's really time. So thank you. So the conclusion is that there is no miracle recipe. Like you're all coming with different kind of experience, different industry, different passion drivers. What I see here is a unique leadership style, is your unique learnings and experiences. So if you have more questions and you want to share with the panelists, there will be pizza and beer in a few minutes, and Mike will tell you more about this. So a big round of applause to the panelists. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our panelists and to Julie for the wonderful moderation. And we are continuing because we are mindful of everybody's time. So next we are going to do our open mic elevator pitch. Today we have one for Fuel Law AI. And Will, you'll be speaking? Thank you. So the rules are very simple. You have 3 minutes.
Do it quickly.
Here we will time you. Alex will wave his fingers at 1 minute. He'll wave his hands at 2 minutes. And at 3, he will squawk the chicken. And then you stop speaking. You tell him when you're ready to start.
You all hear me? Good? Hey, my name's Will. Thanks for listening. Fuel Law. Go. Anyone work with AI? Hands up. Anyone use ChatGPT? Everybody. Okay, good. Welcome to Fuel Law. We are a AI power-up for contracts. Yeah? Anyone signed a contract? Yeah, all right, okay. We all sign them, we struggle, we read them, and then we pay. That's what it is, yeah? We're using AI to accelerate that process. What's the problem we solve? It's risk and compliance. Nobody really understands contracts. It's incredibly difficult, high value, slow moving industry. But we build a model and a tool which can process, review, and manage your risk and figure out if you're compliant to them. Yeah. Our task is we want to build for enterprise, but in order to get there, we're starting with entrepreneurs, i.e. people like you guys in this room, mostly, yeah? So we start and learn there. So an entrepreneur can put a contract in our platform. It's up and live now. I'll show it. I was going to do a demo, but told don't do it. So I'll share the site. You can put a contract in, check out your risk and compliance. Anyone checks a contract with a lawyer will know it takes 4 days, a week, 2 weeks, costs you what? $250 US or an equivalency, just to get a simple thing done. We can do it in 2 minutes, basically. For under $5, basically. You will still need a lawyer at the end to sign something, and you will need to put your name on it. This doesn't go away, but the whole process and the payment and the hours and everything that leads up to that goes from 4 days to 2 minutes, at a lot less. So if you're a business person, entrepreneur, startup, whatever you are, like we're doing, that's a big saving on high-risk issues. Law firm, if you run a law firm, if you're a lawyer, it increases your pipeline enormously. You can process many more contracts. If you're an enterprise, you can get massive OpEx efficiency. Everything bought in a hotel has a contract, napkins, plants, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. We're started right now. We're called Fuel Law. MVP's live on 99contracts.co. I'll share it out later on. Stage 1, consumer, we learn. Stage 2 is enterprise. We're born and started here, and we're building out. There's 2 of us. It's all our money. It's all our risk. And we're going forward. What's the hunt and the ask? People and talent we're looking for. Not so much because there's very few in AI here, but we're really looking for partner reach and processing. So if any of you have got a contract sitting in your back pocket and you want to check it, dump it in our system tonight. It's It's free.
Questions from the audience? Yes.
Yeah, we can generate contract. The actual essence of what there's many review tools and GPT tools. So if you don't use AI a lot, just to explain, AI will have a new app store. So GPTs will sit like apps in a whole new environment. It's like a whole new internet that's been invented in 1.5 years. If you go inside of that, there are a lot of things that will check and blah, blah, blah stuff for you. They're mostly stupid. They're mostly just AI on top of something. We've actually built a critical thinking model so that when you put a contract in, it will not only give you a lot of options, but think through your contract as if a human had done it. And if you know Greg, for example, and probably quite a lot of you do, he's a lawyer, one of our partners, testers, super qualified guy with a lot of experience, Harvard Law, pretty good. When we put our program in ChatGPT and say, could you rate us against the 6 best guys or top 10 guys who are doing this stuff, we rate out as #1. So it's the critical thinking bit. Authoring is difficult, and we're small, and we don't have any money. So if you come in and say, hey, can you build me a contract? Tricky. If you dump one in and say, hey, how's this working? That's where we are right now. But we can author. Yeah, we know how to do it.
When you say compliance, what jurisdiction are you checking compliance within? Is it multi-jurisdictional?
So any. This is just scale. So actually the bit I'm talking about now, perhaps too long, the critical thinking is the tough bit, because anyone who's used GPT will understand you ask the same question twice or the same question 2 days in a row, you get a different answer. So we figured out a critical thinking model which controls the hallucination. This is the tough bit, basically, and we don't use LLMs. So actually, a protocol or a process or we talked earlier in the panel about practices and things like that. So whether you have an environmental policy, we just plug it in and it will comply. So we have Thai civil code; it's inside of there. Has to learn, but this is just work and processing. But the hard bit is the heartbeat is the critical thinking.
Last one. Just a moment, we have a name in the back.
Yeah, you can put a Thai contract in, and it will read it. So we change our front end next week. So we're launching for Thailand and we'll say Thai, English, Russian, and Mandarin. But you can drop a contract in, and we will read it. It will just respond to you in English right now, and in a week it will respond to you in your mother tongue.
That was my question, but more general, is it all languages or only the selection of languages?
At the moment, it's just 4. But this is actually rather easy to fix of all the problems we face.
Thank you so much, Will. You're stealing there we go. Okay, those of you who want to evaluate Will's pitch, you can scan the QR code that's on the screen now. You will be taken to a short form where you can evaluate the pitch. I will count back slowly from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And when I see the last phones going down, I will stop counting. Fantastic. Next, I would like to invite Hugh, who will give our community pitch for Hands Across the Water, since both Vic and Tim are absent today.
Thank you, Mike. Good evening, everybody. For those of you who have never been here, Hands Across the Water has been our NGO that partnered with Proseed since its inception, and we've been supporting them ever since. They were set up originally after the 2004 tsunami. 2 people came together, one from UK, one from Australia, and they came together to help down south, and they built their first orphanage at that time. And in the meantime, over the ensuing years, I think we're up to 7 now. Across Thailand, and we help people or kids from the age of 3 up to university age. So any donations are always appreciated. Maybe secondhand clothes, old laptops, old computers, anything, maybe some old books, anything that would be useful for our children in need would be much appreciated. One other thing tonight, any beer is donated for free, but we urge people to put 100 baht because it will go straight to Hands Across the Water, and of course, they will appreciate it very much. Any questions on Hands Across the Water, please feel free to contact Victor Rollins, who is on the Facebook, the WhatsApp group on Proseed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hugh. So that's Hands Across the Water, and yep. I think we're nearly done. Reciprocity ring. Reciprocity ring is a very, very simple idea. It's the last thing that we're doing today. The reciprocity ring is a part of the session where you can stand up and say, hi, my name is, and I am looking for X. So I will give an example, and I'll be very clear. If you don't follow the example, I will come and take the microphone away from you, because I'm very strict about this part of the session. This is the last 5 minutes, okay? So hi, my name is Mike. I am looking for speakers for our next Proseed event, which will be Health Tech 2025 and beyond. If you know or are one of the following, you are the co-founder of a health tech company, number one. Number two, you are a healthcare provider, meaning you have a PhD and you provide medical service to other people. Number three, you are a journalist who regularly writes about healthcare or health tech. I am very interested in hosting you at our next panel. That is the format. Hi, my name is X, and I am looking for Y. Things that work very well in this format are, I am looking for employees, I'm looking for work, I have an event that I'm arranging that I want you to come to, I have a place that I want to rent or I'm looking to rent, I have a second-hand good that I'm looking to sell. All of these things work very, very well. Who wants to try it? Yes, Alex.
Hi, my name is Alex. I'm looking for pillars to invite to my next Asia Pillars event. So if any of you know C-levels and or people in top management looking to network, please reach out to me after. Who's next?
Hi, I'm Leon. I'm a commodity trade facilitator, and I'm looking for buyers in commodities like oil, sugar, and salt.
Thank you very much. Both exemplars. Yes, Nassim. Can you please pass the mic?
Hi everyone, my name is Nassim. I'm a business consultant helping SMEs. I am looking to hear your problems. Maybe I can help you solve them.
Hi everyone, my name is Keith. I'm a graphic designer, and if anybody has any design problems, I'd love to talk. Anyone?
Hi everyone, I'm Solopreneur. I have a background in engineering and project management. I'm looking for opportunities either in renewable energy or in the tech industry. So if you happen to know anyone, either a startup company or any established companies, I'm here.
Thank you very much. Philip. Yes, Diane.
Hello, I'm Diane. I just started DK Collectives, and I'm looking for artists, art galleries, and art collectors to build a community around art.
We will do maybe 2 or 3 last ones, so if you're keen.
Hello, Pashri Nui with Barnard.Asia. I'm looking to hire an assistant, bilingual required. Thank you.
Yes, Greg.
Hi, my name is Greg. This is not for me, but for my friend Tioma here. He is from Russia. He's an IT specialist. He's looking for a job. Otherwise, he might have to go back to Russia. We need to help him out.
It's not by the rules, but I'll allow it. Last one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're done. Beer is free, but we recommend and reinforce by having Roy. It's okay, you do it so well. Standing next to the beer, please. Every single satang goes to the children, drink a lot of beer. Our next events are going to be on June 13, Health Tech 2025 and beyond, and June 20th, everything you wanted to know about carbon credits, but were afraid to ask. Both of these panels need people to sit on them. You're welcome to volunteer yourself or somebody relevant, as long as you've talked to them first. If you want to stay in touch, the QR codes, the top one is for our Friends of WhatsApp, Friends of Proseed WhatsApp group. That's probably the most active. If you want less active, try LinkedIn or Facebook. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening.